Okay, let's try this again. Let's try again. We're having a little internet issue today, so that we had a long involved story a few minutes ago. We're just gonna bypass that whole silly story, and we're just gonna go straight to the let's have a good time. Drama Free Friday, don't you know? I'm Barb Owen, and it's you're at Creating Faces channel, and this is Barb Owen of HowToGetCreative.com. Okay, so I'm just going to say welcome. It's July the 3rd. Tomorrow is a big celebration in the United States, and I'm glad you're here. Thanks for spending the afternoon with us. This is recorded live and with a live chat, and so if you'd like to join us, anybody watching the recording, 2 p.m. Eastern on Fridays is when I broadcast. And so come on over. Otherwise, you're going to listen to me chat with people in the chat. I try to remember to repeat questions and comments and things that are appropriate to the discussion. So let's take a look at this one more time. Over on the blog, HowToGetCreative.com, you'll see there's a blog, and 2 times a week there are posts that go live. They're supposed to go live on Tuesday and Thursday. Sometimes there's a little hitch here and there, so, you know, gotta be patient. But anyway, here is one of the things that's on the post on Thursday. So it's a really great kids clay recipe. And so I just thought I would show you that. That's on Thursday at HowToGetCreative.com under the blog tab. And so here is a new magazine I got this week. Funny story about this magazine. I went to pick it up. I saw it at the grocery store, which is kind of unusual. But anyway, it was at the grocery store, and cloth, paper, scissors. This is the latest issue, which is display until August 31st. July-August issue. Issue number 61 for 2015. So anyway, I'm checking out, and I happened to check out through the liquor department, because that's the only thing that I bought in my car. It's the place I can always get that's close to get into the store. So if I only have 1 or 2 things, I usually check out there. So anyway, I bought this magazine. I'm going out there, and this young man, I don't know how old he was. I'm going to guess he's 20-something. He was, he rang it up. And this magazine in the United States is $7.99. plus tax, so it was something like $8.63 or something like that. Anyway, he rang it up and he goes, $8.63, you need a different hobby. He says, this is too expensive. So well, thank you for helping me there. He's helping me out. I need to get a different hobby that didn't cost so much. I said, this is cheap compared to a lot of the magazines that I get. And he goes, oh, he said, well, if you buy that, then you have to read. Sure enough. Then you have to read. Oh, the magazines weren't in the liquor department. That's just where I checked out, Mitzi. I'm telling you. Anyway, what amazes me, the reason I bring this up is, first of all, to tell you this issue is out in case you need to go get it. But the other thing is, it amazes me how much of the time things are working in synchronicity. Like, I was working with Paperclay at the same time as Xandra, who is Scraps to Beauty and broadcasts on Wednesdays and Sundays. She was working with Paperclay. And at the same time as I'm playing around with metal, don't you know that they have metal used in a mixed media type application on cloth, paper, scissors. Now, all of these happen to be, weeks, if not months apart. And I've not communicated with them. I haven't communicated with Xandra, The question, can you ask Grace where your RSS... There is no RSS feed on the blog, I don't believe. So you have to go there. I believe. If he shows up, you can ask him. Because we had that discussion, and there was a reason. I don't remember now what it was. Yeah. Hey, Joyce. So anyway, it's got some pretty cool stuff in it. Really enjoy I love this magazine. This is a particularly interesting article. This guy is Thomas Mann, and he is quite a metal working authority, I believe. I have a couple of books that he's written. If this is the right person I'm thinking about, which, you know, could be. And he does a lot of metalworking, and he also does, he's quite a cook. And so he's combined his metalworking with cooking. And so he does a line of jewelry, like these are beets. And so he does vegetables and fruits in different kinds of, and like this is a pan, it's a pin, but it's a cooking pan, and so forth. Yeah, I think it's fun. It was fun to read. Anyway, some good stuff in there, so I just thought I would tell you about that. I did this week. This is from Kyla's class. Oop, camera's crooked, sorry. Slight adjustment, so I'm square with the world, sort of. Mitzi wants to know, do I have my own server? Race has the server, I don't. When it comes to technical things, I am not good at answering technicalities. So, there you go. So this is from Kyla's class, One Page Wonders, and I've showed you last week the first 2 books from that, so I thought I'd show you this one. This one's called, she calls a meander book, and it's a fun little book. Everything in the class is made from 1 page, okay, 1 page of paper. And it goes like this. So you get a lot of pages in it, but it will stand up like an accordion style kind of book. Okay. Now, what I did on mine, there are 2 pages in here that I glued together, taped together, actually. So this one and this one don't come apart, and I'll show you more about that in a second. But it's double-sided. Now on mine, because I didn't paint it dramatically differently from one side to the other, you know, it looks very similar. If you do it a lot different from one side to the other, you get more of a contrast. But anyway, it's a fun book, and then so the title will go here, whatever title I end up using. And then I made a belly band for it out of part of the paper from the original. So it's kind of fun, because then when you pull off, the title can go here on the belly band, and then when I pull it off, so this is the one side of the paper, that's the other side, then when I pull it off, the title is hiding under there as well. So that's kind of fun. Anyway, so this is a littler meander book, she calls it. Can I show how I made the band? It's just, all it is it's literally a loop of paper or fabric. It's just a loop. And all I did was wrap it around the book. To start with, I just wrapped it around there and decided how big it needed to be, and then I glued it shut. So it was a strip of paper. And that's all I did. Yeah. So this is another one. This was some paper that was what I brayered off, and I only have this decorated on one side. I brayered off when I was doing jelly printing, so it's white on the inside, or more or less. So it has room to have, you know, something done in here. I don't know what. Anyway, this one I have not glued or taped shut, so you can see this. So when it is in its natural state of the 1 page of paper, it's like so. You see, there's the 1 page. There's the 1 page. The belly band, oh, the belly band, no. The belly band it's a separate piece on top of it. So it's a piece of that glued on top. Yeah. So there is the book, the 1 page of paper, and see, it's white on the other side. So it's white on this side because I didn't decorate that side. I was using up scraps. So then you just fold it up. It's folded up and it becomes a little book. So if I want it to be, if I don't want it to be able to open up like that, then I'll tape these 2 pages together and these 2 pages together, and then it becomes like the one I just showed you. Anyway, it's kind of fun, you know, and you can display it this way. You know, you can do all kinds of stuff with it. Anyway, fun little book. Fun little book. It's similar to the zine, but it's a different cut. This one's a different cut, but it's very similar. And then there's a itsy tiny one. Yeah, it's very similar to the zine, but a little bit different. So here's a little tiny one, same exact thing. Okay, so it's just a lot smaller. So there you can really see what it looks like. So I may tape these 2 pages closed, and that way it'll stay as I want it, with another littler belly band around it. Good, CB, good. Yeah, there's lots of one-page books out there, definitely. So anyway, there's my little collection of this kind of book. I've actually made that structure before. A long time ago, I made that structure for something for my son, and I found it in an old issue. At the time, it wasn't old, but then, as we all know, based on the story I told earlier today, I'm elderly after all. Hi, Juliana Beasley. I see you. If you need to get my attention, write in all caps. Just type in all caps. Hi, Juliana. Thanks for joining. I just happened to see your question. So, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. It was in an old issue of Cloth, Paper, Scissors. They had a meander book, or whatever they called it. Anyway, so I thought I'd make one of those for my son for Christmas one year. This is a number of years ago. Anyways, back when I didn't know much about anything. I didn't know anything about the inks and all that kind of stuff. So I would go take myself to the store. I go shopping and I buy distress inks, because I'd heard of Tim Holtz. I'd seen him on the moving picture box. I'd seen him on TV, you know. So I went and bought some distress inks, and I came home. That was back when they were like, you know, the distress inks were new, and so I bought some brown colors, and that was it. Hi, Dana. Dana, there's a whole story behind that. The reason I said that. And so anyway, I bought these distress inks, and I came home, and I'm inking all this stuff, and I'm putting it on my book, and I'm doing all these little, you know, things, doodad things that I was decorating this book with. Could not figure out why in the world every time I put down the glue that everything turned brown. You know, well, it's because distress ink is water reactive. Yeah. Anyway, I've learned a lot since then. Haven't we all? Yes, haven't we all? All right, so back to a bit of show and tell. So I tweeted this yesterday. This is my book. I don't have a title on it yet, but this is my book where I've been taking notes for the one-page wonder class with Kyla Give Hand. When you can, I think you can still get into it if you go to her website, which is HowToGetCreative.com. Anyway, so I wanted to cover it. This is like a composition notebook, except it is from Barnes & Noble, and it's their Piccadilly line. So it's kind of like the composition notebook, but it's nicer paper. It's a little thicker paper, and it's cream colored instead of white. So, you know, there you go, if you're interested in that. So what I did, it started out with paper napkin. So this is one of the paper napkins, and that is this one. So this paper napkin here turned into this right here. And if you look closely, I'll give you a different shot. Let me get this where you can see it a little bit better. If you look closely in the background, like right about here, you can see the polka dots. See another polka dot here, polka dot there. So those are the polka dots. So I'm trying to get myself organized here. Those are the polka dots that you're seeing in the background here. So it starts very, very bright, and by the time I was finished with it, it's not so bright. You can see the polka dots in the background. Anyway, so that was what I did. I had 2 different napkins. The other one was also polka dot, but it was like brown and orange and yellow and gold and stuff that somebody sent me at some point in some Happy Mail. And so I used those 2 different ones. And this is for a class, and so I'm going to tell you what I did, but I'm not going to show you what I did. So you can, if you are so inclined, you can play around with it. I put interfacing on the back. So here's another one, and this is the single layer of this is a single layer of napkin. You know, napkins have white backings on them, so you got to peel off all the white backings. Sometimes there's 1 layer, sometimes there's 2 layers of white backings. So you peel it off, and then I just ironed interfacing onto the back. So it's still quite vulnerable because it's still paper, but it's very vulnerable yet, but it is not as vulnerable in this state as it is in this state. So one of my favorite things to do is to turn paper into a stitchable medium, which is what I call fabric paper. That's not original to me. I just play around with stuff to see how many ways I can push things into the fabric paper realm. So I backed it with a very lightweight interfacing. Then I started playing with crayons and oil pastels and washes of color, acrylic paint, just putting acrylic washes on it and playing, and that's exactly what I did. And then when it was finished with the playing part, and I thought, okay, it looks all right to me, then I took, what did I do after that? I used, yeah, see, I have to think. Because I've slept since then, people. And you know, us elderly women, we have to have our sleep. And if we sleep, we might forget. I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing about what happened this week. Anyway, so then I ironed a layer of fusible web on the top, which acts like a sealer. Okay, so I ironed a layer of fusible web on the top, which acts like a sealer. And then what that does is allow me to draw on top of all this stuff. So I went over it with Sharpies and all kinds of other, you know, marker type things. And then I ironed, because the fusible will still activate because it's on top of all this nonsense, I put a sheer fabric over the top of it and fused that to the napkin. By this time, the napkin is now sandwiched inside, so the napkin's in there. It's sandwiched between interfacing, fusible web, and a lightweight fabric on the top. So it's all fused together. That turned it into something I could stitch. Okay, so now you can see it. Can you see the stitching on there? So at that point, I stitched it. Oh, cool, Juliana. She just got a whole shipment of napkins used for composition books. Yeah, I love composition books, and I love them having their own covers. So you can see the stitching that's on the front and the back. And I've shown you guys a lot of times about doing the free motion stitching. Okay? Now, once I had that done, you can see if I open this back up If I open this back up, this piece of napkin is not big enough to cover the whole book. So I was really glad I had done 2 pieces, because I put 1 piece on the front and 1 piece on the back. So these are 2 totally different napkins, 2 different colorways of doing it. And that left me with a problem here, because there was not enough to wrap around the spine. Okay, so let's open this up. So there was not enough to wrap around the spine. So I started looking in the stuff I already had done, because what I like to have is I like to have a bunch of raw materials already finished, already in my stash, so that I can just make things as the spirit moves me, so to speak. So what I did here is I glued my napkin art, my fabric art, to the cover using tacky glue. And then in my stash of stuff, I had this, which is gaffer tape that I painted. So this is gaffer tape, if you've never heard of gaffer tape. It is a cloth, and it's really sticky, people. It is really sticky. Okay, so it has a texture. Let me show it to you. Let's see if we can get it where you can see that it has a texture. I don't know whether you can see that or not, but the point is it's not shiny. It's a matte finish, and I believe it's a cloth tape, but I wouldn't swear to that. Anyway, it's gaffer tape, G-A-F-F-E-R, gaffer tape. This particular one is Pro Gaff. You can see in there Pro Gaff. It does come in different colors. This was the only color I have, is black. And so a while ago, actually it's been probably 2 or 3 years ago, I put some on. It was a non-stick mat like this, and I painted it. And that's exactly what I did here, is I painted it and I stenciled on it or stamped on it. I don't even remember. But this used to be black, just exactly like this. I did it with acrylic paint and put it was in my stash. I stored it on a piece of parchment paper, and so it worked just very well. So I just wrapped it around the spine, stuck it on. So there you go. Yeah, the gaffer tape is used for, it's the place that I got familiar with it is my son, who is in the entertainment and movie industry in LA, and they use it all the time to tape down cords and to tape down things so people don't trip on them. And so he's the one that made me go get gaffer tape, and I went, I need to use that. So this was a big old roll, a big roll. Now it's not cheap at all, but it was a big roll, and we've used a ton of it. So every once in a while I sneak some and use it in my artwork. Well, I had pieces left over of the fabric paper from this, so I had pieces left over. So I put them together and I stitched them onto a piece of black cardstock. Yep, that's exactly right. Eileen says it's the tape they use to hold down the wires when you're on stage. Any kind of wires you want to hold it down, any kind of wires you want to hold together, you want to keep it. The theory is, as I understand it, and you correct me if I'm wrong, the theory is that it's very sticky, but it doesn't leave residue. So Eileen has a few rolls of white. Of course you do, Eileen. Of course you do. Of course you do. We're not surprised that you have a few rolls of white, Eileen. So anyway, I put these pieces, there's 1, 2, 3 pieces on here. I put them on a piece of black cardstock. I stitched them together using my favorite lime green variegated King Tut thread. I love the color. I use it a lot because it blends, and I don't know, it's beautiful. Anyway, I stitched around it, and then I added a second piece of black cardstock onto the back so that it covered up the stitching. And there you go. Added some fibers, and I have a bookmark, which lets me keep track of where it was that I'm ready to take notes for the next thing. So that's what I did on that. Any questions about that? Checking chat for a moment. Yes, it won't ruin the stage. Right. Okay. I'm correct about that. It was something that the adhesive, how they make something that's super duper sticky will stay put and yet it won't ruin things. I don't know. And Eileen says she got hers from Uline, Uline, Uline. I got mine from a local, I don't know what kind of store that's called. It's a local place where they do like home theater and stuff like that. I don't know what kind of store that is. Gina says she's been experimenting with crazy quilting lately and intend to use some of the King Tut on a quilt block. Cool. I love King Tut thread. I love it. It works so beautifully. And I ran onto a website earlier today and it made me think of this book. And so I thought I would show this to you because this was how I got into doing any kind of art journaling. This was the place that I came to art journaling. I didn't know that it was a thing. I didn't know it was I didn't know people did something called art journaling. This is a long time ago. So anyway, this is a book that I started out with, so I thought I would show it to you. And it's quite an interesting, as you can tell, it's been highlighted and yada, 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 and I took notes and all this kind of stuff. This is more one of those art therapy kinds of art journaling kinds of books. You know, it's not the kind of art journaling that most of us do today. But this was, as I said, this is how I came into art journaling. And so I just thought, just for grins and giggles, I would show you, how I came into it. So this is my first art journal book. Okay. Now you're seeing a pretty good sized screen and you're seeing about a little over, let's see, you're seeing about, I'm checking to see where I can see my finger on the screen. You're seeing about half the book. Yes, it's about half the book. Oh, Judy Foster says that Lowe's has gaffer tape. Okay, I didn't know that. So Lowe's has gaffer tape. And you can order it. Juliana says you can order it from B&H, which is a really cheap photo store in Manhattan. Okay, so there you go. There's some sources for you guys. So try Lowe's or B&H online. So this is so here is the bottom of the book is down here. Okay, so this is a big Mamba Jamba book. And again, this is not a book that should be used for art journaling, but I didn't know that. I had no idea. So I bought it because it was big and I figured I needed a lot of room because I had a lot of crap to get out of my head. Right? Whoops. Sorry. I was trying to show you the book and I had me in there too. So yeah. So this is my book, my first art journal book. It's actually a sketchbook. It's not good paper for this or anything else. It was a black cover book. I didn't know anything about doing mixed media whatsoever. And so far it's all still holding together. This has got handmade paper on it. It is very, very lumpy and textured. This has handmade paper on it. This and this and this green, those are all handmade papers, as is this that I bought in sheets. And this on the back, there's handmade paper and I don't know what else. I think this might be napkins, might be tissue paper on here. I really don't know. And I didn't even cut the edges straight, which I tell you today, it's all I can do not to cut that off because I don't like that. But, c'est la vie. I was taking advantage of the handmade paper stuff. This is a big old book. And at the time that I started with this, and these are vellum, pieces of vellum, I don't know what, scrapbook paper or something that I collaged down. And they were really difficult to stick down. I know why now, but I didn't know then. Anyway, at that point in time, so I've got my name on here. Those were scrapbook letters. At the time that I did this, I was reading the 4 agreements. And so that's what's on here. The 4 agreements are on here. And yeah, so I just thought I would show you that. And then inside here, this is where I started. And so I won't bore you with all this stuff. But I was working with markers and some chalk and pens and, you know, what have you. And some of this is really ugly. See, back in 04. That's where this started from. So some of these are really ugly pages, but this was how I was feeling at the time. There's a lot of writing that goes with it. So, you know, very amateur looking drawings and stuff, but it didn't matter because all I was after was to get to the heart of whatever it was that was going on. So this is chalk, and this was my brain. So at that point in time, when I was trying to process these things, that's what my brain felt like to me. Yeah, so we'll just pass that on by. This was done in colored pencil. Again, lots of writing, lots of, you can tell by looking at it that there's a lot of emotion being processed. This was marker, I think. And again, you know, lots of stuff going on. This is chalk. I did have sense enough, when I went through this, I did have sense enough to learn that you couldn't use wet stuff. Yeah, it's exactly what it was, Gina. It's exactly what it was. And this was ink or something. Maybe what, I don't know what it was. Anyway. But it was something wet. So let's see if there's anything else in here. But anyway, this is big. Oh yeah. This is a big Mamba Jamba book. So I was just reading the chat a minute. So again, more processing. So you can see this is not a nice, pretty, this is not bad. But these were not pretty pages. These were those kinds of pages that were meant for, these were not being guided by anybody else. This was being kind of guided through that, through the use of this book for me, and just trying to dig through feelings. So another one, another one. So, yeah. And this one has a completely different feel because I was trying to force something. And you can tell the difference in whether something is, when I was doing it, you can tell the difference in whether it was honest or whether I was forcing things. And then back in here, I think all I've got is just, you know, sticking in stencils and, you know, that kind of stuff. But anyway, I just thought I would show that to you. Just so you could see that I've come a long way in the art journaling world. A long way. Okay, so we're going to do something fun today. We're going to try to do something fun today. That's enough of that. Hey, Jeannie. Yeah, raw emotions. That was raw. That was, when you see that, you can see that the rawness of where I was at that point in time. Life was a challenge back then. Cheers, by the way. I'm having chai. I don't have any jelly stuff in there. That's all just stencils stuck in the book and stuff like that. So, okay, so we're going to try to do something different today. And if this doesn't work, then we'll just always wish it did. So give me a second here to do my magic. More or less. More or less it worked. Okay, it's good enough. Okay, so let me see. How am I going to do this? Give me a second. I neglected one small thing. Yeah. Okay, I'll just type it in the chat. That's what I'll do. I got to allow links first. Sorry, I didn't quite have myself quite as much together as I thought I did. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a link. And on this link, there are 4 choices, okay? And now you will have to be on a computer to do this. I don't think you can do it with an iPad, all right? Or an iPhone. So any of you that are on tablets or phones, you probably won't get to vote. But those of you that are on computers should be able to do this if all works well. If not, we'll approach it a different direction, all right? So let me see if we can. I was supposed to have this link someplace and I neglected. 15121. I neglected to get the link over where I could get a hold of it. Okay, so I'm going to give you the link. That probably did not come through right. STRAWPOLL.me/48155121. Let's try this. Okay, there. That should have come through as a link. And you should be able to click on that link, which should take you to the place where you will be able to select one of the following options. Okay? So you should be able to see the options and you should be able to vote. And let's see. We should be able to see. Here we go. The results coming in. So you guys. So what we're doing is we're going to see what you guys want me to do today. Okay. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes. And so once we get it in there, once everybody has voted and the numbers quit going up, then we'll see what I'm going to do, okay? You can't vote more than once. You can only vote once. Okay, so far, Gelli Printing is winning. All right. And Xander says, "Go, Gelli, go." Hi, Josie. AJ says, wait, getting on the computer. I'm waiting. All right, the top 2 so far are Gelli Printing and Fabric Paper. So we have 11 votes for Gelli Printing. We have 7 votes for Fabric Paper. We have 6 votes for Art Journal Page and 4 votes for a mandala of a different kind. Gelli is winning so far. All right, now it's 11-7. Come on, Fabric Paper. CB says, come on, Fabric Paper. And Jeannie's whining. Jeannie's whining. Wah. Vicky says, no one gets tired of seeing Gelli Printing. Okay. Everybody here? Everybody done? Okay. Everybody's done. Done. All right. We have 31 total votes. All right. Votes are still going up. Anybody else need to vote? You got a little bit more time. All right, looks like the voting, now we have 32 votes. Okay. I'm waiting until the votes simmer down because I know we probably have a lag. And by the way, welcome everybody. I'm just now checking while you guys are voting, I'm just now checking the list. We got a great group of people here today. Thank you so much for coming. Anybody that's new, be sure that you are introducing yourself to us if you wish to. Okay, so we're going to call it done, and it looks like Gelli Printing has won out. All right. So that was pretty cool, and it worked. I gotta say, I'm impressed that it worked. That was called a straw poll. Yeah. All right, so it looks like we're Gelli plate printing, huh? Looks like we're Gelli plate printing. All right. So the next question is, well, I won't give you a next question. I'm just going to do what I want to do. Oh, I forgot to show you the little clay figure I did. Forgot to show you my little paper clay figure. We'll do that and then I'll get my stuff. Okay, so I'm going to show these to you and then we're going to get cracking on. This was from the blog post on Tuesday, and I've finished up the whole thing on kid art. It's all done, and yeah, Eileen was waiting for Vicky to say, wait until Barb types go. So this was taking a two-dimensional object, which was a drawing, and turning it into something that's three-dimensional. So this was taking the little drawing that my granddaughter Christy did and turning her into a three-dimensional object. So she is created from paper clay. She starts out like this. So this is the paper clay figure done, and this was all on Tuesday on the blog at HowToGetCreative.com if you want to see the step outs of how I created her. So she is in paper clay here, and then she's painted and antiqued. Oh, thanks, Sandra. I thought it was really interesting that you and I are both on the same wavelength of playing with paper clay, you know, without communicating with each other. I think it's really funny. This one is done the same way. None of them are ever turn out the same. This is done the same way, but she's antiqued with a darker brown color, so she has a muddier appearance, which is not good, not bad, just is. It's the way they turn out. So, yeah. So anyway. So there you go. So those are the little paper clay figures, painted, varnished, etc. All right, so let me go and get my stuff together for doing Gelli printing. So let me get my stuff and then we'll get cracking, okay? All right. So you guys entertain yourselves for a minute and let me get my stuff pulled together and I will be right back. Okay. Are we ready? Okay, can you see and hear? I hope. I'm talking. See my mouth move? Sorry, that was, I'm teasing. Just being silly. Thanks, Jean. Hi, Jean, by the way. All right, so I'm just pulling out some colors. Just pulling out some colors. Some deli paper to pull off some extra prints. One of the cool things about jelly printing is you get a lot of stuff. You get a lot of bang for your buck, so to speak. All right. Just got to organize myself here a minute. I always pull out way more stuff than I'm ever going to use. And you need a big surface to work on. Well, Jean, here's the thing. I won't ever know if you nod off. I won't ever know. So, nod away, babe. It's okay. Nod away. Nod away, my friend. Nod away. It's all right. It's all right. Hi, Deborah. Nice to have you join us. Thank you so much for telling us you're here. All right. I've just about got myself almost organized, I think. Just about got organized here. All right. We have paints. So we'll put the paints up here. I'm going to kind of stay in the cool range of colors today, with the exception of gold and yellow-green, which kind of work with everything. I'm going to pull... Oh, did you hear the tragedy? Did you hear about the tragedy? Chance is going to be so upset. Chance is going to be crushed when he hears this. Crushed, I tell you. It's a tragedy. Did you hear the tragedy? They're going to stop making bubble wrap that has popping bubbles in it. This is this is Chance's favorite thing in the whole world. He loves that because he can bite it. He can bite the bubble wrap and he listens to it pop. It's a tragedy, I tell you. It's a tragedy. I don't know what we're going to do. What are we going to do? I'm telling you, it's terrible. He is going to be so upset when I have to break the news to him. Yes. Yes. I'm going to have to break the news to him. I don't know how I'm going to tell him. I don't know how I'm going to tell him. He is not going to take the news well at all. Okay, just to prove my point. Do you see this big box here? Do you notice it's rubber banded shut with 3 humongous rubber bands? Inside this box, let me show you what's in here. It's Mamba Jamba bubble wrap that I'm keeping. And it's in this box, and it is rubber banded shut because someone whose name is Chance will not leave it alone. So it has to be rubber banded shut. And he still knows that there's bubble wrap in here. See? Rubber band shut. It takes 3 of them to keep him out of it. Yes. Yes. It's in fact the truth. He might need a 12-step program. I don't know how I'm going to tell him. I really do not know how I'm going to tell him. So far, I haven't had to break the news to him. I saw it on the news yesterday. I'm like, no, say it isn't so. And in one gasp, my husband and I both went, ugh, what will Chance do? His favorite thing in the whole world is to get a fresh piece of bubble wrap that he could pop. Yeah, some kind of new something or other they're doing. I don't know. You're supposed to get it and inflate it yourself or something. I don't know. Anyway, okay, we have some masks going on. Let me pull out a few, let's see, do I want to use these? Pull out a few little stencils. Let's see if we can keep this to a dull roar, shall we? Yeah, like that's ever going to happen. That's right, Cindy. It's like living with a 2-year-old. It's true. Sorry this takes a minute, but it's just, as my son used to say, it's the how of it. When you start jelly plate printing, you have to get all this jazz kind of pulled together. Because if you don't, it's not fun. You got to pull your stuff, you got to get your stuff together. Maybe we'll use this one today. I haven't used this in a long time. No, that's too delicate. I don't want to do that. All right, enough of that. I'm not building any more of those out. Oh, but I have a kitty face here that Xandra sent me. Where is that? Let's see if I can find it. It may still be with the pocket letter. Xandra sent me the cutest little cat face stencil. It must still be with the pocket letter. Yeah, I believe it is. I'm gonna have to get that out and make sure that it gets over here with my jelly printing stuff. So JZ says that a roll of exam table paper works a lot like deli paper, but any size you want. Good idea. I have a roll of that. Cat face would be fun, but I'm going to have to go find it, and that's a problem. That's a problem. See, if I know I'm going to jelly plate, then I get all this stuff ready ahead of time. When I don't know that I'm going to jelly plate, you guys are subjected to having to wait until I get my act together. All right, so we have texture things. We have stencils. I just have to get the stencils out. Almost ready, people. Almost ready. I need to get my stencils, the big stencils out, and then we're ready. Have some rubber bands ready to go. And the big stencils. That's the only thing I need to get pulled out here. I keep the stuff put away, and the reason I do is because invariably somebody wants to know something about one of them. And I try to have, I don't have all of them because I started keeping the packaging after I realized that I needed to. So some of these don't have the packaging, but quite a few of them do, which takes a little bit longer to pull the stuff together. All right, we'll pull out a couple more stencils here. I love these this house stencil from Joggles is one of my favorites because you get these cute little houses. You get different houses. You get the houses, and then you also get the stencil. I know there's glare on it, but you can do the stencil or the mask, and it's nice that they come that way. Well, that's cool, Cindy. She found a round straw a cool straw placemat that she's going to use. I bet she's going to use it on her Gelli plate. All right, so we got stencils, we have masks, we have choices, people. We have choices. And Eileen just happened. It wasn't totally an accident. I can tell by the way she's writing in the chat. She just accidentally ordered some stencils today from Pam Carricker. All right, so what we have here is we have a big Mamba Jamba pad of paper to my right. It's on the chair right there to clean off the brayer. I have stencils that I will be using in a bit. So for the moment, I'm going to set the stencils. Now, when I ask you where they are, they're underneath the big pad of paper. I have the Gelli plate, and I have my surface that I put the plate on. We're going to start with the big round Gelli plate, which is the 8-inch round Gelli plate. That's what we're starting with. So I'm taking the Gelli plate out of its little house where it lives, peeling the plastic off of it. Put its little house down here in the basement. And excuse my throat clearing, but you know, it's the how of it. All right, so here we go. So let's see what happens. Get things square with the world here. All right. And I have some fabric because I figured that was probably what was going to win out today. I wasn't certain. And excuse all this trash back in the background, but that is leftover paint. The plate is clean, but it's got all kinds of crud on the back. This is a piece of plexiglass in the background. All right, so I'm going to start with the lightest colors of paint. Let me roll up my sleeves. Get my sleeves up. This poor shirt, this is one of my crap shirts, but I try to keep it kind of nice because I do use it when I'm on camera some. This poor shirt has had acrylic paint on it this week that I've had to get out, and also acrylic ink. Honest to Pete, the poor thing. It got painted with purple acrylic paint, and it got painted with Liquitex acrylic. It was like phthalocyanin or whatever it is paint, that it's one of those powerfully staining colors. I'm like, oh no, that happened last night. All right, so let's move this over so you can see a little bit. We're going to start with yellow green. So a little bit of yellow green. I'm just going to leave, oh, I didn't get my foam stamps. A little yellow green, a little bright aqua green, a little bit of that. And let me get some foam stamps. So we have some foam stamps in case we want to use those. Barb, you have to get some of Pam's matte fluid acrylic paints. How do you get the paint out? JZ says, Murphy's oil soap. I try rubbing alcohol helps sometimes, but my experience so far is that Murphy's oil soap is what does it. Does the trick. Okay. Oh, I know, Jeannie. I know. The bubble wrap horror. Horror. All right, so we're just going to blend and we're going to play and we're going to see what happens here today, people. Just see what happens. This is all your fault. It's all your fault. All right, I'm going to start with plain colors to begin with, and I'm going to texture the bottom layer because that's what I like to do. I need one more space. One more space. That I don't have. Just one more space. All right, let's do, oh, I need some texture tools too. Of course, I didn't get those out. Come on, hurry up. Paint's drying. Paint's drying. Hurry up, girl, hurry up. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Where is it? All right, well, that's what we're going to work with. This may be too dry to get it off, but we're going to find out. We're going to find out. Not bad, not bad. Okay, so there is the first thing. So what I'm after on this layer is just to get color. So I'm just going to do color, and I'm going to repeat this a few more times. So, all right. So again, just texturing here and there. We don't see you, Dana. We don't see you. So I'm just using muslin. This is a piece of muslin. So that's what we have going on. Let me get out of the picture so that you can see the entire screen, okay? So I'm gonna go with the green again. I'm gonna add some, what is this? Light blue permanent. Yeah, the texture is great on the jelly plate, isn't it? And the great part about this is that I get these great big pieces of extra paper from where I'm brayering off, which I absolutely love. Love having those. Just for fun, I'm going to sprinkle in some rubber bands. These are just plain old rubber bands that I have dedicated to jelly printing. This is plain old muslin. It's a heavyweight muslin. I'm not using any fabric medium with the paint. If you wanted it to be more permanent, you would have to use fabric medium with it. Okay, so there's with the rubber bands as a resist. And I also have some other fabric that we're going to play around with and see what it looks like. And that is some fabric that is printed white on white. Okay, so it is printed white on white. I don't know what I think is going to happen on this, but I thought we'd play with it and see what happens. Well, that's pretty cool because you can see the background, so that's nice. You can see the background peeking through. So that's kind of cool. Alright, so I'm going to pull up the rubber bands. And I'm going to take a piece of Gelli paper and pull this up. Looks like amoeba. I'm assuming you're talking about the rubber bands. So then you get, can't see that very well because the light's not super good, but you got the right idea. Alright, let's switch to, we're going to drop out the yellow green at this moment. And add some, what is that color? Purple. Brilliant purple. So, same color of blue, which I think is light blue permanent. And so I'm keeping one color the same, which was the blue, because I used that in a previous layer, and adding a different color on the top of it. Alright, so let's go back and texture this one. And get another layer of color on here. Okay, so there's that one. And we have a little more over here. And I forgot to put on my gloves in the bottle, so I'm going to have to try to do something fabulous to get this crap off my hands. Thank goodness for the scrubby. Alright, so this is the blue and the purple combined. Alright, so I'm going to go backwards and I'm going to use the bright aqua green. And the blue. All right, let's texture this with, I'll use some texture plates. So these are the texture plates from Cedar Canyon. And then I print whatever's on here, I print that off on something else. So you'll see the texture from the texture plate right there. And let's see. use some more of this white on white fabric. So there's that on the white on white. It's very interesting, actually. Interesting. All right, let's see if we can get some more of this up. So that's the white on white print. All right, let's go with a little bit more of this. And I'm going to get some white paint. Yeah, they really are. They're great. That's why I originally bought them, was to use with the paint sticks. And then one day discovered that using them with the jelly plate was like too much fun, you know. This needs a little bit something else, so let's put a little bit of yellow green in it. Okay, so let's use another, let's use a stamp this time. So this is a foam stamp that I made just with fun foam. So again, printing off whatever was the stamp picked up, printing that off on my paper over there. So let's go in the middle here. So I picked up some of that in the center. I'm just after color at the moment. So let's take a different piece of white on white fabric. This one has stars in it, so we're going to use that. I just heard Miss Muppet come up to see everybody. Bye, Gina. CB says, part of the white on white acting like a resist. Yeah, it is. But my suspicion is, you can see some of it there, my suspicion is that it'll be interesting to see how it works. I think it's going to vary from fabric to fabric. That's my suspicion. Okay, let's get into the purple a little bit more, and I think I'll add some white in with the purple this time. Actually, let's go with a little gold. So when you can't see me doing anything, I'm brayering off on this big piece of paper over here. To my right. Okay, here's another big stamp that I made, just a bunch of circles. Polka dots. Alright, so we're going to pull some of this one in here. So you can see the polka dots in there. And we're going to pull some more over here. So I'm just trying to get basically most of the fabric space filled. I don't care if there's some white space because I can go back and fill that later. with other stuffage, other color. As soon as I get this printed, then I will show you the whole piece of fabric. Yeah, if you want to wash it, you need fabric medium or fabric paint. Yeah. Okay. We're pretty close. All right, that's filled up pretty well. Let me pull off the rest of this paint that's on here. And this is just deli wrap that I'm using to kind of clean off the plate. Okay, so here is the piece of fabric we've got going on so far. Okay, so I'm working on basically a fat quarter or a little bit less, a little smaller maybe. So first layer of paint, basically light colors, just to get paint on. Okay, so let's do a little bit more of the white on white fabric, just so we can kind of have something to play with that. So I'm going to put the green, let's put some white on, and a little bit of the aqua with it. Just to lighten the color a little bit. Okay, let's use my big old Mamba Jamba circles here. I like this one a lot. It's just wonky circles. You have to order it, Mitzi, usually. This is the 8-inch plate. I'm using the 8-inch plate at the moment. Alright, so let's use, we're going to go back to the one that has stars on it. Okay, so there is that one. I also have another piece of fabric, which is, this is another white on white print. So let's see if we can get anything off of this. These, as you can tell by the shapes, are leftovers from various and sundry things. Yeah, so not much color. Yeah, not much color. Okay. Moving on. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to just put some white paint on here. Which is probably a gross overkill. And get a piece of cardstock. Next time, fabric paper, please. Are you pining for fabric paper, AJ? Hi, Linda. Bye, AJ. Have a good weekend. All right, let's see if we can get this to pull up. Not totally. We got some of it. So let's go for another one. See if we can get more. That's pretty, actually. That turned out to be a pretty print. It's very light, but I like having an assortment of things to work with. Light, dark, medium. The more contrast you get, if you don't watch out, you make everything medium in color, medium in value. Okay, I got most of it. So that turned out quite nicely also for just kind of basic colors. All right, I'm going to clean this up and put it away, and we're going to get out the smaller ones and play with them a little bit. Now, you know, everybody deals with their plate differently. I don't like it to go back in the case crusty. Paula loves crusty. And she does great stuff with the grungy, crusty kinds of things because that's what she likes. It's okay with me sometimes. It just sort of depends on what it is I'm doing. And so it's not my favorite thing. Therefore, I tend to clean the plate and put it away. And then again, you know, I clean stencils too. So there you go. We all have our thing. Okay, so it's pretty clean. Pretty clean. We'll put it back in its little house. So it comes with 2 pieces of plastic and put them back on. It protects the plate. Then it goes back in its little house, and if the plastic is cupped, it will cup the plate. So just straighten it out, snap it back on its plate, and the company, as I understand it, recommends that you store these flat, not hanging up. Alright, so we'll put this one over here. And now I'm going to replace my big plexiglass. I'm going to remove that, and I'm going to go to the smaller plates. So this one, which is the 6-inch round, hi Ashley, nice to see you. So another piece of cruddy plexiglass. I don't mind if the plexiglass is cruddy. That's okay. So I don't want the plate cruddy. Alright. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to work in the next colorway. A little bit darker colors because I have pretty much the medium, kind of light, sort of mostly medium color tone in the fabric. Okay, so this is mostly light to medium. So I'm going to go now to the next kind of way, and I'm going to go to, let's go to some blues. This color is Cerulean Blue Hue. And I may put a bit of, keep a little bit of the permanent blue in it. Okay, so now I'm going to switch to some stencils. So what, yeah, we'll do it this way. So I'm just going to put the stencil on top of it and print on top of it. But I can just as easily have gone the other way and put the stencil down on the fabric, okay, so what I'm getting now is I'm starting to get some of the masks and some of the stuff showing from below. So I'll take this off. This has got paint on it, so I'll print that over on my sheet, my brayer sheet, to get most of, you know, get a lot of the paint off of it. Not all of it, but a lot of it. Now I still have a really cool print here, so because this is little, you can pick it up and you can turn it over and you can print this way. Okay, so you see the print, two different prints. This is actually nicer than what that is, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm okay. All right, let's go back to this permanent, or this cerulean blue hue. This paint is much thicker. Much thicker. And I'm going to add some quinacridone magenta. And maybe itsy bits of white. And that is suspiciously like the purple. Yeah, so we're going to cover most of that up because I don't want all of that. Because that is going back to the color. It's a whole lot like the original purple. It's a whole lot like this brilliant purple. Okay, so you see the print from that. Now there's a print on the stencil on the back, so I'll pull that off on something else. And now we've got this, so let's see, maybe we'll put some of that. I'm going to pull that off on one of the other pieces of fabric. So this is the one that has stars on it, so there's some stars peeking through the back. And maybe we'll see if there's any more that wants to come off on this one, which has a leaf pattern in it. Not much. Cleaned the plate off mostly is what it did. All right, so we're gonna leave out. We're gonna leave out the white. Go just with the Quin magenta. All right, so now let's go to use some mask bits. So I'm going to use some of these flowers. These are joggles. This is the masks from one of their stencils, which is really fun. They have nice stencils. Joggles has nice stencils, and there's a little room in there, so we'll give it a little texture here and there, just because we can. And let's pick a nice spot in this fabric and see what we get. Okay, so where the masks are, where these are, they're protecting what is below it. Okay, so they protected the lines. And let's pick another spot. And pull that out, and so you see it's protected what's below it. Alright, now we'll pull off the shapes, print those off on something to my right, just to get the excess paint off. Alright, and I'm going to pull this off using a piece of deli wrap. Thanks, Dana. Thanks, Vicki. So that's what came off the rest of it, which is nice. Nice. Okay, let's go to... working down the line, we're going to go to primary blue. Alright, we're going to see what happens if we put a teeny bit of white in. If it goes too light, then we're going to have to change it up. No, that's alright. Okay. Alright, now let's go to, let's see, I'm going to use some more masks. I'm going to use some cloud shapes. These are cut out of Tyvek. So these are just Tyvek. And Tyvek is virtually indestructible, so you can use them. You just don't stack them up on top of each other. And then my favorite little hand mask. I love my little hand masks. like so. And then we'll texture this again, maybe with some skinny lines this time. Just because we can. How do I clean my stencils? Murphy's Oil Soap. It's the best thing I have found. Use Murphy's Oil Soap. And the cruddier you let your stencils get, the harder it is to get them clean. Okay, this is what I just did here. You see the little skinny lines? You see how the hands mask out, and so do the clouds, what's below. And then I can pull these off. Print these. So I just find it easiest for me, and it's just my thing, is when I'm done doing big, and I don't get the Gelli plate out to print, you know, two or three little things. I go for several pieces of fabric, or, you know, a bunch of cardstock or something like that. And once I am done printing, then I just throw the whole kit and caboodle in a big kitty litter pan with hot water and quite a bit of Murphy's Oil Soap. Let them soak until the water gets really muddy and cruddy, and they clean really well. But if you let your stencils and stuff get really super caked up with acrylic paint, it takes quite a while to get them cleaned up. I just don't like when the definition of the stencil goes away. I don't like that. I like being able to get it to do what I want it to do, you know? So that's why I do it. So I'm going to use a little bit of this green, which is Phthalocyanin or something like that green. And some white. Alright, I gotta switch my paper because I filled up. See that? That is the brayering off paper that I've been doing while I was creating the Gelli print. So I gotta switch. Because I filled it up. So hang on a minute while I get myself reconfigured here. All right. All right, and let's go to some rings. 1 ringy dingy. 2 ringy dingy. 3 ringy dingy, and we'll put in some texture in there. Now let's find another spot to use. The Liquitex basic colors I just got at Michael's or Hobby Lobby. They both have them. And there's nothing special about them. They're just the ones off the rack. So there's that one. So you can see the ring has masked out what was below. So we have another bit over here. Okay, so what we have here, the blue-green is what I just printed. The purple is what was below. So that's what the rings protected. Okay? Okay. Okay. Okay, so there are the rings printed on the star fabric. So the part that I can see with this white on white fabric that you have to be careful of is if you want to maintain any of that white, you can't overprint it too much, because if you do, the white's going to go away. So so far my assessment is this kind of thing is the most effective to do it like truly as a mono print, where I like to layer the prints mostly. I can see that that is what works best on that stuff. Alright, I'm gonna go, let's see, do I want to use this green? Yeah. I don't use sprays on the Gelli plate. I think they're so thin that I don't think that that's going to work very well, but that doesn't mean, that's just what I'm thinking, but that doesn't mean it's true. That doesn't mean it's true. It's like, you know, it's like so many things is like, I don't know, try it, right? Just see. So I haven't tried it, and I just haven't done it, so I'm just talking. So pay no attention to me, pay no attention. All right, where are my houses? We need some houses on here. So we're gonna put a few little houses. All right. Okay, so you can now see the houses coming through, right? See some houses. So in the end, when I'm finished playing around with these like this, I want hints of the round Gelli plate to be there, but I'm not concerned about, personally, about having, you know, the concept of mono prints as such. I really am more about I kind of like people to look at it and go, how'd she do that? You know, that's more what I am after. So I'm going to go back to the stars fabric. Okay, so there are the stars, star fabrics pulling the houses up off the plate. All right, so at this point, I'm gonna print one more time, but with a more solid color over. This section of the plate is really thin with color, and so I'm gonna print over here using a more solid color. So I'm gonna use that, and I'm gonna use a little bit of gold with it, because I want a more solid layer of paint over there. All right, so let's see. I think I'm just gonna texture it. Because really what I want is I want color over here. Okay, so that's that got what I wanted. I wanted more color over in this section. And I've got one more section over here that doesn't have much color, so I'm gonna go back and put some color over there. And I think I'm just gonna go back to the purple. All right, let's just texture this one. Okay, so you can see that I have more color here now, which is what I was after. Okay, let's pull the rest of this up on my brayer is noisy. Sorry. Sorry about that. It's the way it is. It's the way it is. All right, so we're gonna clean this off and go to a smaller plate. Yeah, that's what I figured. Pay them no, never mind. All right, so that is that. Just turn down your volume, Gene. That's all you got to do. Just turn your volume down or mute it on your computer, and that takes care of the problem. Not a problem. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to put this plate away, then we're going to go down to the littlest one and just do some detail stuff. The last blue color. I used this one, which was phthalo, cyanin, green, and the last blue was primary blue. Those were the last two colors I used. Okay, well, in that case, we'll just have the BAM hammer ready, won't we? We'll just have the BAM hammer ready. Yep, that's just the way it goes. That's the way it goes. You gotta choose. You either get it all or you don't get any of it. All right, so we're going to go to the little jelly plate, which is the itty bitty girl. And I'm going to put it on, this is the 4-inch round. Okay. 4-inch round. Just ignore, guys. Just ignore. That's all you got to do. Just ignore. Okay? No biggie. Just ignore. All right. So I'm putting it on my little by Erica. I'm putting it on this little stamp pad, acrylic block. And that way I can use it as a stamp. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. That's what's happening now. Oh, that would be cool, JZ. A donut-shaped jelly plate. That would be cool. I have to say, now that would be cool. All right, so we're going to put I'm going to go for gold. I'm going to go for the gold, people. I'm going for the gold. Maybe some copper, too. Why not? If I can find it. Did I get it out? No. So let's put some copper on, see what the copper looks like. Maybe we'll live dangerously and we'll do copper and gold at the same time. This uses teeny tiny little amounts of paint. So this is probably way too much. Okay. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use, I'm going to take the fabric, or as my son used to call it, the fabric. Call it fabric. And I'm going to put it down on here. I'm going to put a stencil on here, wherever it is I want to use it. And I'm going to put the plate on top. And I'm going to stand up and smush it. Give it some pressure so it can get down through the stencil. And so now you see what we got, right? Now this has paint on it, so I'm going to clean that off. And the plate has the stencil pattern on it, so we're just going to take a piece of fabric here and just print it off on that. Okay, so there you go. All right, so I'm going to do that again. We're going to go with the same. The gold is going to show up better than the copper, but I like having the two of them. This little plate is so little, it's really a challenge for me to get used to the amount of paint that you need to put on it. Okay, and I'm going to use, because I love me some spots, we're going to put some spots on. Okay, so we got spots happening. And I'm going to take this off. I'm going to see if by some chance I can get some more. Yeah, see there's some. It's just better not to try and do that second print, in my opinion. When I'm trying to get like the embellishment. Okay, sorry, but that's enough of that. Sorry guys, just a minute. Okay, is Jean still, Eileen, are you available? Here we go, never mind. All right, we'll see how. Eileen, where are you? There you go. Okay, Eileen. Okay, Eileen, hopefully I've made you a moderator. Sorry. All right, hold on a minute. All right, Eileen, I've made you a moderator, so you need to do the do. Because for whatever reason, I was having trouble getting it to do what we need to do. Thank you. Okay, got it. All right. Sometimes there are some people in the world that just have nothing better to do than be annoying, and then some. It could be Teresa. It could be. That could be exactly what was going on. Thanks. I don't know why I couldn't get the job done. It just wasn't happening. It just wasn't happening. It wasn't that I wasn't trying. I just wasn't getting the job done. So, yeah, that won't happen again. Next time that one shows up. And if it shows up again in another Yeah, you're right. So let's ignore them. Let's go on. Okay, so we're going to put some more of this on here. And so I'm going to go back to this stencil here. You got to ignore them. The worst thing you can do is honor these people like that with any kind of yeah, I don't think he's here even, because normally he would take care of it, but I didn't get it. I couldn't seem to get the right combo platter of, you know, couldn't seem to get the right combo platter going on. Yeah. Anyway, we got it. Yeah, just keep going. Ignore. All right, so we have the, I'm just putting some little highlights here and there. Okay, so little highlights here and there. And I'm gonna just print this off. Oh, you can't let it rattle you. They're just, you know, they have no power. People like that have no power in their lives, and so they spend all their time trying to get somebody else, you know, to give them some kind of attention. And the worst thing you can do is give them anything. Anything. So, there you go. We rarely have problems, so I can't worry about it. We just keep on trucking, people. We just keep on trucking. Okay, so this one I don't like is this particular thing. So we're going to set that aside because I don't care for what this is. But that's all right. You don't have to like everything you put on this. All right, a little bit more, a couple more spots of gold on here. We're gonna call it a day. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Teresa. If any of you want to hear the story about John, you're going to have to watch it. You're going to have to see that recording real quick, because that recording is going to go away very quickly. All right, let's do some more spots. I like the spots. We're doing more spots. I don't, Vicki. There's the big one. I don't have the big one, which I don't think I will ever get. I'm not real interested in that great big plate. For whatever reason, it's just not. I thought I really wanted to get it because I thought, well, it would make, I could make bigger pieces of fabric, you know. Bye, Dana. I thought I could do, you know, a lot bigger pieces of fabric. Well, I don't think that that's really what I want to do. I like small pieces of fabric for most of the kinds of things that I work on. So I don't really think that I want the big plate. And besides that, it all takes up room, you know. So I don't have the big one, and there are some really small ones. I don't have the small ones either. I like the gold better than the copper. Bye, Teresa. Thanks for hanging out here, and I will talk to you next time. All right, right, let's go here. Usually the Scrappy Camper Sisters are on bright and early on Saturday morning. Usually bright and early. Okay, let's go back to the Starburst. I don't know what the name of this one is. Could be Starburst. Might be something else. I don't know. I think the smaller ones give you better overlaps on fabric or paper. Yeah, I agree, Eileen. I agree. I just am not so knocked out. I think if I use the big plate, because paper doesn't come that size. Paper doesn't come the size of most of the Gelli plates, which is fine with me. I really don't care about that. Because like I said, I'm not into the worrying about the mono printing aspect of it personally. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. That's what happens. That's what happens when you get real old. You lose your train of thought. For the kind of way that I like to use the plate, I like all the patterns that I get that interplay, as opposed to the true, I think the original purpose, which was mono printing, and that doesn't really the mono printing, you know, isn't my real thing. I like all the layered prints. Okay, so I think we're going to call it done. So let me move all this stuff over so you can see. Because I was trying to give you the view. Thanks, Jason. Oh, you guys are great. You make me laugh. Okay. So what we have, when you look at it, you can see the various circles here and there. I just want you to have hints of the circles. Okay, I don't necessarily want you to go, oh yeah, that's all done with the round Gelli plate. I want you to look at it and go, that's cool, right? I want you to see little bits and pieces of things. And then on the top, I like being able to have, you know, something else that's on the top. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I like doing the fabric just to have it, and then I find uses for it once I have it printed. It's kind of like the paper that I did those books in Kyla's class. I had all those papers done. I had no idea what I was going to do with them. And I've used most everything that I had printed, I've used up in her class. And so I really like having the raw materials. It does have a fireworks sort of look, doesn't it? So I'm just cleaning off the plate. I'm going to put it away, and then we'll finish this up. We'll finish up this fabric, which shouldn't take, hopefully shouldn't take too long to finish it. So put the plate back, put the little kivers on. Yeah, it would be a pretty journal cover, wouldn't it? And I do that a lot. I like to cover all my composition notebooks, which I use a lot of composition notebooks. And the reason I use so many composition notebooks is because I keep them, they're cheap, and it's an easy way for me not to live with a world of Post-it notes. Now, don't get me wrong, I still have plenty of Post-it notes floating, but I try not to have so many post-it notes, and so I do have a myriad of composition notebooks hanging around here, and I like having them for different subjects. And I do a lot of writing. Haven't done so much lately of my own personal writing. Okay, this is pretty dry. Now, if I wasn't so lazy, I'd get up. Now, I am going to get up and go get the water bucket. I was just about to use the water that I've been drinking, but no, I won't. Alright, so I have some water, and I'm going to use a little bit of paint, and I'm going to fill in some spots, the blank spots. Let me see, what color do I want to use? I'm going to use this Vivid Violet, Americana Vivid Violet. Bye, Kara. Thanks for stopping in. Good to see you. Hope you have a great weekend. So I'm going to use a wash of paint. Just pick up little bits of it. And I'm going to just add some here and there. And I may also use a little bit of Sea Breeze. So these are just craft paints. Come on. Come down. There we go. So this is why I don't mind if, there's some light spots here and there, because I'm going to go in there and I'm going to tint the fabric anyway. And I don't spend a lot of time worrying about it. I just put it there, wherever it is that I am feeling it. So if I'm feeling a little bit of, and I try not to saturate the fabric when I do this, okay? But I do want it to penetrate the fibers. Now, this is not washable, okay? Lest anyone think that this fabric is washable, it is not. If you have a cat by the name of Charlie who is prone to tummy issues, he will test that for you quite nicely, which of course he did. And he taught me that acrylic paint is only permanent in clothing and things that you would like for paint to come out of. Those are the only places where acrylic paint could be permanent. It is not permanent on your artwork unless you have set the paint properly and you use the right fabric medium and fabric paint and yada yada yada, right? So don't think that you're going to make this onto a pillow, make the fabric into a pillow and have it survive being laundered, because I would not ever suggest that. Okay, so over here you should be able to see really well what I'm doing. Now, Chance doesn't have tummy problems. Chance is fine in the tummy areas. Charlie, his friend, has tummy problems. And Chance has very little empathy for that. Very little. He looks at him like, you're dumb. And why do you do that? Yeah. But do you see the difference that it makes by adding some color? So this is just what I particularly like to do. And you can use different colors. You know, you can come in here with a complementary color and add color into it. I'm sticking kind of with the same or similar color palette. Yeah, it's old Charlie. It's old Charlie that did it. Now, if you're going to move your fabric around, you do kind of want to mop up underneath because you are using wet paint. But do you see the difference? Maybe, I hope you can kind of see the difference. So like this is, it has the, it makes it kind of cohesive looking. Like we've got this going on in here. So let's just use some wild color just because I want to. So let's pick up tangerine. So let's use some tangerine. Just saw Mitzi talking about laughing. Last night I had gone to bed. Claus man went to bed before I did, so he was sound asleep, or more or less sound asleep. And I was watching a Shannon Green video, which I should never do when I go to bed like that, because she has the ability to just totally and completely crack me up. Well, I got to laughing, shaking the bed and carrying on. I woke him up. She was talking about her neighbor who was Moroccan and who was wearing a dress and riding or starting his motorcycle. And I'm telling you, it's just the way she said it just cracked me up so completely. Yeah, so I'm going to have to apologize to Claus man for that one because I'm sure I interrupted his sleep pattern. Kara gets to stay. Good. Okay, so do you see? You can just add something else. You know, it doesn't have to stay in the same color palette as long as the stuff underneath it is pretty dry. Then you can use the complementary colors, or you know, something that's on the other side of your color wheel. But at any stage of the process, don't get married to the outcome of what you're doing here. If you do, if you go, oh, it's so beautiful, I want to keep that, guaranteed you will screw it up. So just don't be concerned about it. Just don't be worried about it. Just keep on going. Just keep on going. Oh, that's pretty. I wonder what will happen next. Shannon's sense of humor, I'm telling you, she's talking about that neighbor and him wearing sandals and socks. And she's telling that story and she cracked herself up, and then she's saying, I'm horrible. I'm horrible. And I thought, I can so relate to this conversation. I try to be a good person, and then I get some stinky troll coming into my chat trying to disrupt my life. Here I am just trying to be a good person. Yeah. You know what I mean, Vern. But the paint, when you do this wash of color, the paint that's dried resists it. And so the places that are kind of murky on the top, for whatever reason, seem to just kind of dry out and go away, and you still get all the variation of color, which is my favorite part. It's okay, Carrie. I'm just mouthing. Because that's what we like to do. So to me, this makes a more cohesive look. And so I like doing this because I get more of a cohesive look to the whole thing. And again, it makes people look at it and go, golly, how did she do that? Okay, so now let me mop up all this paint because I'm done doing that. I'm not doing that anymore. We're done there. I'm going to mop this up down here. Now, to do the black and white, which I like to add very last, to do that, it needs to be dry. So we're going to see if we can get it fairly dry with the heat gun. But I don't know if you can tell the difference in it once I've added the washes of color or not. But it, in real life, thanks Pam, in real life, it changes it quite a bit. It just makes it more cohesive. All right, so we're going to dry it. Hey, Cheryl. Well, yeah, JZ, I gotta say that, you know, I've been known to wear socks with my Birkenstocks, you know. Not the ones that are thongs, you know, the between your toe things. I don't do that. But, oh yeah, you know, I've been known to do that myself. But I don't consider it high fashion, I consider it lazy. Lazy, that's all. Alright, we're going to see if we can get this a little bit dry, and then we're going to do some stamping on it, and then we're going to call it done. And you will have chosen what we're going to do today. Thanks, Cindy. So, are you guys pleased with your choice? Are you pleased with your choice? We're not quite done, but we're close. Okay, let's flip it over so you can see where I've added the washes, because the washes have come through. I will, Judy, I will. WD-40, yes, yes. You know, that's just should have happened. I just should have been thinking ahead, getting that WD-40, oiling my old cruddy brayers. Okay, it's not dry, but it's, you know, it's dry enough. I think the paint won't, I don't think it'll spread. All right, let me pull out some stamps and some black paint, and let's give it some black. A little bit of black. Got to do a little bit of. I'm going to use one that's kind of big-ish. I might do that one. And then maybe some circles. Circleage, and we'll call it good. We'll call her good. Alright, this is my palette, which needs a fresh sheet. Alrighty, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you, and then I'm going to move the palette off to the side. I'm going to use black acrylic paint. And you can either use a brayer or you can use a sponge. Or you can brayer out the black paint and actually dip the foam stamp in that. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use one of these makeup sponge, which is just about ready to go in the trash because I've ripped off the end multiple times, so it's very small now. So I'm just putting paint on there, coating it with paint. And then I'm going to start printing the stamp hither and yon. And I'm not after a super duper heavy black. If I want that, I'll add that with something else. This is just mostly to add some depth. You also can come in here with the stained Sharpie markers and you can add doodles and lines and stuff like that, swirls and things like that if you want, using the stained markers. They are a fabric marker. If you're not going to wash it, which I'm not going to wash these, you can use a regular Sharpie. But Sharpies are well known to clog up with acrylic paint. So you got to make sure that this is completely dry before you drag out the Sharpie markers. Because Sharpie, if any felt tip pen is resistant, shall we say, it is resistant to acrylic paint. So I just like putting some black here and there. And this kind of helps, you know, with the circle idea, since that's what we are printing with today, are the circle plates. Not everything has to be circles, but, you know, I like kind of carrying the theme through. And then I often let some hang off the edge, but, you know, we're not going to hang any off the edge. Well, we should, shouldn't we? Why? Let's not skimp. Let's just do it the right way. It's just that you got to put something under the edge to catch the overflow. Otherwise, you print on your mat, and that's ugly. Then you're dragging your fabric through it. So let's turn it. And we'll put another one over here. This is really a little bit brighter in person, but then I guess you guys are used to people saying that. In real life, it looks like it looks more like in real life. What time is it? 3:56. I am on here a long time today, peoples. And we still haven't had a sponsor sighting. Oh, no. All right, now you can see that these prints over here, these last couple of prints I've done, have more, they're deeper black. That's because this foam stamp is collecting more paint, and so it's easier, you know, it doesn't take as much paint to get some on it. And then as I say that, I get a really light stamp, but you know what I mean, Burn, you know what I mean. All right, we'll do one more over here. Just get a little bit there. And we'll get a teensy bit over here. Just a tiny bit here. All right, we're going to call that good. Stamping off on my brayer paper. All right, so we got the black here and there. So the next thing I'm going to do is finish it with white. white acrylic craft paint. Could be white basics or white whatever. What I'm going to use to get variation in size, this is very close to what's down here, so I'm going to not do that one. Maybe we'll do this one. We'll see. We'll see what we think. Yeah, that's all right. It's okay. So I'm not after clean prints. I'm just after some hit and miss kind of white prints here and there. This is the inside of a Scotch tape dispenser roll. And what you have to realize that when you do this kind of thing, you're looking at it trying to make this whole pretty piece of fabric, you know. You don't want to look at it that way. You want to look at it and you're trying to get, I'm trying to get paint here, there, and everywhere. But in the end, I'm going to cut this up into pieces. Alright, so this is a style stick. This thing, it's a style stick. And so I'm going to put some dots. When in doubt, dot. This is fabric. This is muslin. It's a heavyweight muslin. Now you can do just as much in this stage as you want. This is like doodling in your journal. When you're all finished with a journal page, it's like adding those final little doodles here and there. And you can squint your eyes when you're looking at things like this. You can squint your eyes and you can see where you've got holes in the color, and then you can go back and add some more. You can always add more later as well. You can do things like, you know, add some to the black, you know, make it a different pattern than the stamp was. And we're just about where we're going to call it done. Done. All right, so we're going to call that good. Okay? Okay. Put the paint away. Put the paint away. I think everything is put away. So let me show you from, if I can find my switcherooty. I'm going to hold it up so you can see it from a distance. Okay? What glue do you use to adhere the fun foam layers to make the stamps? Actually, I use the self-adhesive fun foam, and if the adhesive isn't enough, then I use some tacky glue or Crafter's Pick. Probably either one is what I use. Thank you. All right, let me move this out of the way. And so here are the 2 pieces of paper that I got today. So this is one. So this is where I was brayering off and cleaning off stencils. Okay. So there's one, and then here is, let's see, here's the other one. That's the other one that I was brayering off on as well. So you get more than what you think you're going to get. All right, so let's get the sponsors and call this game over. So yeah, thanks Eileen for taking care of that. I don't know what I was having trouble with, but anyway, I'm not an experienced BAM hammer lowerer. I'm not good at BAM hammering. Are you coming up to say hello? Come here, boys. Come here. You've been good today. You've been good today. You are a good boy today. All right. All right, let's see if we can say so long, farewell. Auf Wiedersehen, goodbye, or whatever it is. Oh, come up here and say goodbye to everybody, okay? Come here. Lay down. Whoops. I just kicked my mouse right off the screen, so my picture disappeared. Of course. It was a great stream, John, trolls and all. That's right. Thanks, Carrie. Thanks, Eileen, for helping. Charlie's hogging the picture. Charlie says goodbye. Chance says goodbye. Everybody's purring 90 to nothing. They're so glad to be out of there and be part of everybody again. So, all right. So, thanks for coming, and I will see you guys again next week. I'm going to stop the recording now. So, anyway, if you're watching the recording and you want to join us live, come over on Fridays at 2 p.m. Eastern, Creating Faces channel, and you'll find, if you're watching the recording, you'll find the link below the video.